Shabbat Shalom. Welcome to this broadcast. My name is James, and this is going to be an Interfaith Jewish worship service. Hopefully, the first of a series of services. Tonight, I want to begin by kind of introducing a little bit about who I am and why we're doing these services, and why this is important to me. So, a little bit about myself. First of all, I'm a Mennonite. Did not grow up Jewish, but I grew up with a more fundamentalist Christian background. But about 10 years ago, I became a Mennonite, and over time have really began to develop my theology in more of a universalist direction, understanding that God is too big to fit into any one religion, that God is present in ways that we don't understand. And often we have a lot more points of unity. But then over the last 2 years, I've been exploring more deeply into the Jewish faith tradition, largely through the influence of my wife. And I'll get her at some on this program at a later time to share her story. But in short, she and I have been really drawn toward the Jewish faith tradition, beginning with Rosh Hashanah, the Jewish New Year, about 2 years ago. And since then, our family has observed most of the Shabbats and many of the Jewish holidays. And something that's grown into being a part of who we are as a family. And so this year, beginning with Shabbat, which is a Jewish holiday that celebrates the giving of the Torah, the Word of God, the law, the commandments at Mount Sinai of Israel. And so at Shabbat, I began to think of what would I do to commit to understanding Torah better and to wrestle with it practically. And I came to the conclusion the best thing I could do would be to read the Torah. And by Torah here, I mean the more specific definition, the first 5 books of Jewish scriptures, the books of Moses are commonly called. There's a broader definition of Torah, meaning all of law, all of scripture, and even the oral Torah, the tradition of the time of Rabbinic tradition. But for my purpose here, I'm speaking about that narrow definition of 5 books of Moses. And so I felt like that I wanted to reread these primary texts, but do so from the perspective of the Jewish tradition, particularly reading it in the chunks of portions of Torah that are read in synagogue, commonly called Parashah. I think it's Parashah. I'm not sure which is the plural, which is the singular, I forget. But Parashah, Torah portions. And my interest in this, especially just in the context, is important. How we chunk up a text is important. Christians read the Bible, unfortunately, too often as verses and chapters. For the Jewish tradition, the emphasis has been more on, at least the Torah has been on Parashahs. And so that's what I'm going to be looking at in this reading and understanding these texts from this context and how it flows through Jewish year of liturgy. And so I've been reading through the Torah in this way, but also trying to engage with it and writing some blog posts about it, doing a lot of reflections. And so I thought this mode of having these Jewish worship services, spending part of the time in conversation about the Torah passages with people. So that's what this is about. Now, I want to give you a little bit of background as far as my approach in engaging with it, because I think this is important. You need to know my bias, just like you need to know anyone's bias in engaging in the teaching. So first of all, of course, my understanding of Jewish tradition and how I want to engage with it in both the worship services and in the Torah teachings is from a universalist perspective, but yet one that is faithful to the integrity of the Jewish tradition. What I mean by that is to say that I am a bit of an outsider and an insider. I am someone who engages with many of the Jewish traditions. I practice many of them, but I did not grow up Jewish. I have some very distant Jewish ancestry, possibly in my genealogy, but it's not something I was raised with at all. So I'm coming at this as an outsider, and yet I'm also coming at this in place of someone who has been engaging with this for a while. And so I'll be sharing from that perspective as an outsider, but particularly making the connections with broader humanity, with other faith traditions. That said, I want to make it clear I don't believe in proselytizing. I'm not trying to convert you to become Jewish. I'm not trying to convert you to become a Christian or becoming a Mennonite even. These are each different paths that I think point the way of God in different ways. And so if I was going to try to do anything with this for other people, it would be to encourage you, any of you who are watching or engaging with this, to seek the divine in your own life, to find ways to God. And who am I to say what that's going to look like for you? I can share about my journey, hopefully a conversation with you about your journey, but I'm not presuming to have answers for you. So I want to make that clear. Lastly, or actually two more points. One is that also I want to engage you this process looking at Torah and Jewish worship from the perspective of intellectual open-mindedness. What I mean by that is that I'm not going to just take the traditional understanding of text. Rather, I'm going to push back and argue. I'm going to wrestle with the text. Actually, one of the things that really draws me to Jewish tradition is the tradition of not just accepting what's told before and argue with it. Because that's what I'll be doing. I will say, when I find a text to be powerful, and I'm going to say when I disagree with it, and I think that's not right. So, and I'll be doing that some today, obviously. So, if you're looking for a fundamentalist Jewish read of the text, go elsewhere. This won't be the place. Finally, my goal in this is to engage with text devotionally. What I mean by that is that I want for myself and for those of you who are participating in this to seek to connect with the Holy, with God, through the text and through these rituals. I don't think necessarily the text itself is magical, the rituals themselves is magic, but I think there's something, a setting intention that happens to be thing. And so I think that sometimes I'm not going to agree with the text, and I'm going to argue with it, but I think that having this ground to argue from, of taking the Jewish scriptures, the Tanakh, and taking the Torah in particular as a point of argument is helpful. So that's what I'll be engaging here. And so, with that said, a little bit about who I am and what this is about, I want to now move into talking about, giving a little bit short introduction for tonight and for the future services for those who will be watching regularly. This will be brief, but I think this will be helpful. First of all, as far as the worship service itself, I'm doing a modified, abbreviated version of the Shabbat service. I'm not doing all the prayers. I'm doing some. I've chosen some prayers from other contexts that fit into the flow of what I'm doing tonight. But again, this won't be necessarily a traditional service. As far as the Siddur or the prayer book I'll be using the one from the Wooden Shul. And if you're not familiar, you can do a search online. I believe it's oneshul.com. They're affiliated with Punk Torah that do some really interesting work. It's an online Jewish community, non-denominational Jewish context. So their prayer book, you could find it in a lot of ebook stores. I know I have it for Nook. I'm pretty sure Kindle has it. And they made it a print version of it. I don't know. But it's cheap. It's like $7.99. It's a phenomenally good resource of Jewish prayers that are both traditional in nature, using a lot of Hebrew, but also some that are very non-traditional, framed in from a feminist perspective. Another tool I want to show, do I have it here? Actually, I don't. But also, I won't be using a prayer list for tonight. In the future, we'll be using some prayers with Jewish blessings by Marcia Falk. It's an interesting book because her blessings are written from an explicitly Jewish feminist perspective and from a non-theistic perspective. It's really interesting what she does, but I'm not familiar with those texts, particularly Hebrew, and so I'm not using it tonight in main teachers. And I'll be mentioning the page numbers if you're using the ebook, the one Shul, Siddur, so if you want to reference that one, you can. But if for those who don't, a lot of these will be familiar with Jewish worship. Also, if you're watching right now, I want to give you permission to participate in the service, not just watch as a spectator. And so if you want to participate more directly, there's a few things you want to do. One is candles. And I'll later on in the service be lighting some candles as part of the service. The traditional part of Shabbat service is lighting candles. I would do that not on camera, but if you want to light your own candles, also at Shabbat, traditionally, the bread is blessed. And for tonight, I have matzah, the Jewish unleavened bread. This is not traditional. More traditionally, you have challah bread, which is a wonderful, divine bread that's egg wash. It's a gorgeous braided bread. But I don't have any challah, so using matzah if I have it. And then also we traditionally bless wine. So I have some red wine here. If you don't drink alcohol, grape juice is fine too. That's completely kosher. But either one, wine or grape juice. Also, I don't know if you can see it on the camera, but if you're having Shabbat as a meal, as it with a family or whatnot, it's always good to make the celebration festive. And so that's why I have some flowers sitting on my little table. And that's a traditional thing. Many people will make a special effort to find fresh cut flowers for Shabbat. And so I didn't know, I just put the flowers on the table to also, I should mention that some of the prayers we'll be doing tonight will be sung, will either be prayed or sung. Now, my Hebrew knowledge is pretty limited. I've had one semester of biblical Hebrew. I struggled with it, and so because of that, I'm mostly working from transliterated versions of these prayers. And so because of that, it won't be perfect. If you actually know Hebrew, you'll probably laugh at me. But I figure it's better to mangle my Hebrew and try and practice it. So that's it. Most of this will be done in English. And finally, the issue of time. In Judaism, worship and Jewish faith practice are very much rooted in chronological time. Traditionally, this service, the beginning of Shabbat service, will be happening on Friday evening. I'm actually recording it not on Friday evening. And so my family, we have a Shabbat we do together as a family, and I don't think it's ready yet to go on camera. So I want to participate in that. So I'm filming this in advance. My hope, though, is for some of you that may be able to, encourage you to tune in on Friday night and watch it about the time of sunset in your local community, and you can actually engage with this in the context. But that said, this is a recorded broadcast, so this is sort of a vicarious time travel. So anyway. Okay, so with that said, I want to begin with a song called Baraku. And I've learned this from the Winship website. One of the worship leaders there does the Rosh Kodesh service using the song. So I'm going to try the best I can. And Baraku means blessed be. And this song, we might think, I'll sing it through a few times. But imagine this as you're singing this, and feel free to join in if you want your own. But it's kind of an invitation to all participants that we're coming in effect. We're giving ourselves this welcome to invite ourselves. It goes like this. Baraku, dear one, Shekinah, holy name, when I call on the light of my soul, I come home. Baraku, dear one, Shekinah, holy name, when I call on the light of my soul, I come home. Baraku, dear one, Shekinah, holy name, when I call on the light of my soul, I come. Okay, let's now take a deep breath. Appreciate the beginning of the Shabbat time. Relax, time to let go of the world. Be present. And now I want to go to page 44. Shul Siddur for the lighting of the candle. I think I did memorize, but doing the safe side, I'm going to look at that. I always have to figure out how to navigate on the e-books. They're a little bit different. Looking at the right page number. It should be page 44. Also, I should say, traditionally, at Shabbat, we like 2 candles. I love it. So like I have, I think, a total of 5 candles here. 3 of them are these long-lasting Shabbat candles. And then 2 of them are some special candles. As you see, these are made in India. I got them at the 10,000 Villages store in Oceania. They're made out of old recycled bicycle chains. And there's an old candle. So So I have a couple of them and these long-lasting. For the prayer we say, and I'll read this in Hebrew first, and I'll pray it in English. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam asher irshanu b'mitzvato v'tzvanu v'hadlih ner shel Shabbat. Amen. I am grateful to you, Creator of all, who chanced to make myself holy before you by creating light. So now let's create light together. If you have your candles at home, feel free to join me in. We'll see it. We do not have an ideal candlestick, so we will lighter, so it's maybe a challenge. But there's one there. We'll see how many of these we can light. Match. That should be much more useful for tonight. But we'll do the best of what we got. Another candle. There's a candle. I'm going to adjust the camera just a little bit. I think it's interesting how that so many religions around the world use candles and use light as an important part of worship, a part of connection. And, it seems very elemental, something that's very deep in our human history. We all are drawn to light. Here are all the candles. Okay. The next part of the service is this recitation of a statement of faith called the Shema. This is the central text in the Jewish tradition. I would argue maybe the most important text of all of Jewish tradition. The version we'll use of it is on page 86 and 7 of the Torah. And I'm going to do, there's a prayer of blessing. It should start right on page 87. Page 87, page 88. I'm going to recite the blessings before the Shema, and then we will say the Shema together. Also, when we say the Shema, we'll stand up, which may be a little bit challenging. I am grateful for the rays of the sun, the light you created, reflects your splendor. In it, we see the radiance of your light. Your servants in holiness are eternally grateful for light that you have made to shine over us. In our gratitude, let us remember what it is praying that a new light will illumine the land to benefit all of us. That we all soon share a portion of faith. I'm actually going to try something. Let's say nice. That's what I like this again. We'll try that just this next part. Baruch atah Adonai Yotzei Ha'ameru. You join your servants on heaven. Kadosh, 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 Adonai, Zavaot, Melo, Ha'akev, Baruch Adonai. We stand alone before him. Shema Yisrael, Adonai Elohim, Adonai Echad. Hear, O Israel, the Lord our God. Turn the light behind me. That's one tradition my family has that we did bedtime. Sing a version of that. So it's really deep. Okay, continuing on. Let's see what we have next. Well, probably in the future we'll have a written version of this for people watching. I'll have that specific trial version, so I have to learn how to do this. The next part is a good part, the blessing of the bread and wine. And that's on page 70 of the door. Jump over to page 70. And so, first, we begin with the wine. In tradition, when you hold the wine glass, instead of holding it like this, or something like that, instead you hold it like this. Yeah, giving that your fingers are pointing up to heaven. And I like this moment to take glass and smell. Just smell the aroma. No anticipation. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam borei agafen. I am grateful to you, Creator of all, for bringing forth Amen. And then for the bread, again, traditional, you'd have 2 loaves of challah. Tonight, we have matzah. So I break the matzah. If I had other people here, I would break off pieces of each person. That's just me. I would break off a nice little bite. I hold it up. And the way I like this thing. It sounds silly to term, but it's not even easy with many such process. And then you anticipate Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam hamotzi lechem min haaretz. I am grateful to you, Creator of all, for bringing forth miracle. By the way, maybe the only people who says this, but I love matzah. My favorite thing. There's something so pure and good about it. I like the crispiness of it. Just when you're trying to diet occasionally, I enjoy the fact it has the crispiness of a chip. It's great for nachos, it's great for dips, but it's healthier. I like whole wheat matzah. The ingredients list is simple. 2 ingredients: flour, butter. What's that? Okay. Continuing onward. Now it's time for the Torah conversation. And I'll admit, I'm a little nervous about this. I spent a bit of time practicing this, rehearsing what I would say, thinking this through. And it's still challenging, it's still traveling through the difficult passage. But today's passage for this week for Shabbat is Mattot. Now, in the Parashahs, or the Torah portions, they traditionally get their name from the first unique word in the passage. So in this case, Mattot, or tribes, is the first unique word. And it's the book of Numbers. Like, for those of you who want to look it up, let me real quick get the references for it. It starts on the book of Numbers, or Bamidbar, Hebrew, beginning with chapter 30, verse 2. And it continues onward to the end of chapter 32. And each of these parashahs are anywhere from 2 chapters to 4 chapters long or so, thereabouts. So it's a good sized chunk. Usually there's multiple things happening in the text. Now that said, the plot of this particular text, this portion, is difficult, incredibly challenging. No way to sugarcoat this. The plot is disturbing. It's the kind of thing you don't hear in Sunday school. You don't talk to the kids about these numbers. It's a challenging passage. I want to give you a quick nutshell version of the plot, and we'll dig in a little bit as far as possible. So first, a little bit of the context we're digging into the plot. The context of this point of book of Numbers is a war in the story of people. Wandering people who are now becoming, they were the Hebrews, they're now becoming the Israelites. becoming a new nation. At this point, they're nomads. They have been liberated by the great hand of God going out of the land of Egypt, out of slavery. They go into the wilderness. Now they have to find out who they have to find out who their God is. They have to find out who they are again. The journey is difficult, the journey is hard. They begin to have these moments where hearing from the Lord, from Hashem, Hebrew, that's the name, often is a way of reverence to show reverence for the holy name of God, which is not Hebrew. Hashem is also Adonai. But they're beginning to have these connections with the Father and understand it's frustrating and challenging. And this is where the beginning of the revelation of Torah, God's commands, God's instructions. And as they're in the struggle, they begin to turn away from Hashem. They begin to turn towards idols. Yeah. They begin to each other and find. They begin to lose faith, the vision of having their own land. When that happens, God curses them, tells them they will not enter the promised land, at least that generation. Yeah. Oh, goodness. The hero of the story, Moses, in Hebrew, Moshe. In the story, it doesn't make much sense, to be honest. He hits the rock to produce the water, the miracle that God promised. But he did so with the wrong attitude, said the wrong words, who knows. But in any event, God punishes Moshe. He tells Moshe that you, the great leader, the great hero of the story, promise you will get close, but you will not go in yourself. And that someone else will lead the people across the Jordan. This is a dark, sad moment, and yet it continues. They continue to wander through the Sinai Peninsula between, this is on the, today, what's the eastern part of Egypt, kind of towards the land of Palestine and Israel. They're wandering, they're struggling. Continued problems arise, continued power struggles. And so it takes us today, throughout, I should add, during this narrative throughout it, we have these moments where Moshe stops and gives messages, where he provides teachings on the law, some other stories, illustrating the point, not that just listen to the statutory in nature. And that's what this begins with. Is a passage talking about the importance of vows. We'll come back to that. After that, we go into the narrative, the rest of the Parashah. Focuses on the. And so, that's our context. Now to the plot. The first part of Mattot is about this instruction of vows. And the basic message is, you must obey your vows. If you make a vow, you must. By the way, the good part about Torah time conversation, you encourage everyone to relish the moment, bring us into this moment of appreciation. So, if you've not had technical tip, so, Parashah begins this instruction. Keep your vows. Well, that's a common sense instruction. Yeah. It says that if a man makes a vow, he must keep it. But if a woman keeps a vow, she can be excused of keeping the vow if her husband negates it once he hears about it. This is a troubling passage, but it's rooted in the patriarchal system. Treated women like children, like they could not be anything back in the story. And frankly, while this seems primitive, this was the law of our country 50 years ago. Laws of many parts of the world to this day that deny women basic rights, stolen property, signing contracts, similar things. So this is, in one sense, horrible and barbaric, and in another sense, it's painfully common. What do we do with that? I don't know, other than to say that this is an example. The Bible tells us the story as it happened. Or at least it may be, we don't know if it really happened. Not a fundamentalist, not a literalist. So I don't know if this exactly happens, but what I'm saying is that the story is, it tells it from a perspective of truthfulness, of telling it what's all, including the trouble parts. As far as what we do with that today, well, I would argue that this is an example of a text that we have to see differently. We have to say this is unjust, this is unfair. Therefore, we don't do it this way. That's my perspective. their eyes to see it differently. Okay, the next passage is rather more troubling than sexy. The next part is that the people come to the people of Midian. In fact, in chapter 31, verse 1, it says, God, the Lord himself, spoke to Moses, saying, avenge the Israelite people of the Midianites, and you shall gather here. So Moshe gives the command, build an army to attack the neighbors of Midian. So they attack, they prevail mightily. And as a result of that, they kill all the men, fighting men of the nation. They take great booty, and they return back to Moshe. And this is where I'm going to pick up the story, read just a little bit of this. By the way, I'm reading from the JPS version, Jewish Publication Society version. And so, as they're gathering, coming back, bringing all the captives and booty, we'll start it at verse 9. So this is chapter 31, verse 9. The Israelites, women, and children of the Midianites captive, and seized its booty, all their beasts, all their herds, and all their wealth. And they destroyed by fire all the towns in which they were settled. They gathered all the spoil and all the man and beast, and they brought the captives, booty, and the spoil to Moses, Eleazar the priest, and the whole Israelite community, at the camp in the steps of Moab, at the Jordan. Moses, Eleazar the priest, and all the chieftains of the community came out to meet outside. This next part, verse 14, says, Moses became angry at the commanders of the army, the officers of thousands, the officers of hundreds, who had come back to the military campaign. Moses said to them, you have spared every female, yet they are the very ones with the bidding of Balaam and used the Israelites to trespass against the Lord in the matter of Peor. So the Lord's community was struck on the plague. Now, therefore, slay every woman and children, and slay also every woman who is known a man, but spare every young woman who is not yet known. You say that kind of crap. There's no good way to put this. This is not a good story. It's not genocide. Fundamentally, when the people came back after the war, bringing back captives, bringing back the spoil, Moses basically scolds them because they weren't brutal enough and they didn't commit genocide effectively enough. So they killed all the little girls, all of the young men who weren't warriors, who were civilians, who were children. And then all the women who weren't virgins killed as well. What's insane about this is that they reference a story a little bit previously where the women of this nation, and the words used there, they whored themselves with the Israelites. Now, again, no real condemnation of the Israelite men, presumably, who were co-partners in the enterprise, whoring, you can call it that. The women are brutally killed. The men are condemned in other places, but there's no justice here. And fundamentally, there's nothing you can say good about this. That's extreme sexism, extreme patriarchy. And this story is troubling. We'll come back. So, after that extremely low story, we now have another little story. And this story is not quite as disturbing. At this point, as they're nearing, bear in mind, they've come through the Sinai Peninsula. They're now coming up the east side of the Jordan. This is actually what today is the nation of Jordan, and approaching what would be Palestine and Israel proper. What would be that? And so at this point, the tribes of Reuben and Gad, they're great cattlemen. They have tons and tons of cattle. They see this land is good for grazing. And so they ask Moses, they say, hey, can we settle here? We're happy with this land. We don't need to go anywhere. And this begins what's a possibility of a rift, a split in the nation. Moshe is very furious, upset, thinks that Reuben and Gad are about to bail on the nation, split the nation into Reuben and Gad tribes. They end up reforming their fealty to the Israelite cause and agreeing to go across the Jordan to conquer the rest of the land with the rest of the nation. If they can be allowed to go back to the land. So they agree with this. Anyway, these stories, we have to understand them in the context of they are. This is something that's new to them. And so, but still, it's hard to, what's the redeeming quality of these stories? What's the good here? If you look at the big picture here of what we've had thus far, we can see the story of great liberation of the slaves being set free by the hand of God and going out of Egypt. And yet at the same time, we have this story that's deeply embedded in here of hatred, of vengeance, war, and genocide. What do we do with this? Well, I think one temptation is to give up. I have read several commentaries on this, but one of them was by a guy named Sam Baron Trumkoff, I think that's his name, from myjewishlearning.com, and he said that the temptation with dealing with texts like Mattot is to treat them like they did in old books 100 years ago, where if you had a crazy relative, you'd lock them up in the basement, keep them or lock them in the attic, keep them embarrassing good folks, lock them away, put them away. And so the idea being, well, Mattot, it's a troubling, embarrassing, confusing text, so let's just pretend it doesn't exist. Let's ignore it. Let's gloss it. And you notice in a lot of Sunday school curriculums and whatnot, this text is pushed aside. But the author in this commentary argued that that is not the appropriate response. Rather, there's something we can learn even from the troubling text. I've thought about it some, and the best I can come up with what we do is to see that Mattot is not the end of the story. What I mean by that is that in the whole story of Torah, and all the fullness of what it is, this is one story. Now, one of several like it, but fundamentally, it's a midpoint. Not beginning either. It's a midpoint. A low point for sure. Terrible, dark point. But it's not the end. I think when we really wrestle with this, we have to understand that this story is a lot to tell us about. The student of history, I've looked at a lot of peoples around the world and their stories. And I'm convinced that in genealogy research and others that pretty much everybody, dig down deep enough, has skeleton life. If you dig down really, everybody, every person on earth, if you dig down deep enough, has stories of murder, stories of war, freedom, genocide. It's a part of the human DNA. I don't think there really are any perfect people on earth who have their ancestors were perfectly good. I don't think that exists. I think every story, if you go down deep enough, stories of genocide. And sometimes the victims of genocide in one generation and the perpetrators of genocide in another generation. To me, it's really remarkable how, in this story, the Israelites were did to Midianites to kill all now the Israelites are doing the very same thing to their ancestors. And think of this too. The Midianites, who are they? Who are some important people that were Midianites? The two obvious ones come to mind. Moses' wife came from Midian, and Moses' father-in-law, Jethro, who played a major role in the story of helping Moses to learn important lessons. This is incredibly messed up. There's incredible craziness going on here. And personally, when I see the story tells us that God's, I don't believe that's how it happens in this projection. Projecting human issues onto I don't think that's how it happens at all. I think this story tells us something about, but we also have to understand it's not good. Human beings are capable of terrible, terrible things, but we're also capable of reconciliation, kindness, of doing good to people we least expect it, the other people we least expect it. There's incredible shows throughout history of incredible sacrifice, people doing incredible things. And when you look at the rest of the story of Israel, they're horrible stories. They are inspiring, noble, all smacked up against So I think maybe the message for us today is not to say God has a message for us here. You remember that this is a part of the capacity, but also this impact. So that's at least my wrestlings with Mattot. Now, I have a prayer, our last few prayers. I'm going down to page 93. And this is a blessing to be read after the Torah study. And I know it may seem a little odd. I expressed quite a bit of disagreement with the passage, argument with it. So it may seem sacrilegious to pray this prayer after expressing these kind of ideas of the Torah. But I argue today that this is part of the tradition. It is part of what it means to engage with the text of Jewish way. And so I think in that light, this is why it bears a blessing. Even when I disagree with it, despite my disagreements, is the ground that offers. So let's pray. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam asher natan lanu Torah temet v'kayai olam natan betokeinu. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu Torah. Blessed are you, Adonai, our God, King of the universe, who gave us the Torah of truth, and through it gave us eternal life. Blessed are you, Adonai, giver of life. And finally, our last prayer, and this will be a prayer of blessing for us as we go out. On page 99 of the Siddur. And this is called the Oseh Shalom. 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 And I'm going to we'll sing it a couple of times. I'll have the closing words. Actually, no, I'll do it in English first, and we'll pray it through. Before we do that, we'll take some moment of silence. Savor these last few minutes. May the one who makes peace in the heavens above make peace from all of Israel, from all the people of Go in peace. Thank you for coming to the service tonight. If you have any thoughts about the service, I encourage you to leave comments on the YouTube page. I'll in the future be posting some more materials on my own website. And this is my website I use for Jewish learning and inspiration. It's Mattot.yahoo.com. By the way, the name of it comes from I took my first and middle names in English, James and Matthew. So the Hebrew version, whose names came from. So it's Yaakov and that's Yahoo. So it's spelled Y-A-C-O-B-M-A-T-T. Sorry. Let me back up. Y-A-C-O-B-M-A-T-I-T-I-A-H-U. It's .com. Yes, .com. Anyway, I'll be posting some material there in the coming days. And as far as next week goes, I may try to do it live. We'll see. But I'll be in touch on the yakubmark.com page. Also, a page on Facebook. You can check there. I'll post announcements about this in the future. But I'll be aiming to have some kind of exploration tour on worship each week. So hope you can join me again. Appreciate you.